Welcome to the Power of Great. I'm your host, Matt Crane, and every single week we bring you guests, entrepreneurs, CEOs, 9-to-5ers, but more importantly, we bring you individuals that have recognized that their current situation was not their defining moment. And this week, I have the esteemed pleasure of bringing Chief Executive Salesman Jeffrey Gitomer to the Power of Great. You know, Jeffrey is the author of the New York Times bestseller, The Sales Bible, the Little Red Book of Selling, the Little Black Book of Connections, and the Little Gold Book of Yes Attitude. You know, that's not it. He's written so many books that it would take me an entire show just to give those the credit. However, every single one has went number one on Amazon.com, including those that have been able to hit that exclusive New York Times bestseller list. He gives over more than 100 presentations a year. He has big corporate customers such as Coca-Cola, U.S. Food Service, Caterpillar, BMW, Verizon, Hilton, Enterprise Rent-A-Car. He gets in front of millions of readers every single week. Did I mention Comcast, Time Warner, Liberty Mutual, Wells Fargo, Blue Cross Blue Shield? And if that's not enough, he's also got his own Gitomer Defined, creative, on the edge, writer, speaker whose expertise on sales, customer loyalty, and personal development is world renowned. Jeffrey Gitomer, welcome to the Power of Great, my friend.
I feel like I'm dead. That was a great eulogy. And thank you for setting such a low expectation for the audience. I should tell you that with all of the things that I've done, I think that my claim to fame is that I keep up. My social presence is as paramount today as it was when I wrote my first article in 1992 that appeared in print. And I think that, you know, for anybody who's listening to me or watching me, my books resonate with people because they're real world. And in sales, you've got to be real world in order to be able to make things happen. What do you got?
We've got our Periscope family out here, Jeffrey.
Oh, cool. They hitting the little heart buttons?
They're tapping it up, sharing it out. They're enjoying it.
Tap it out, dude. So, we have a podcast called Sell or Die. We'll put you on it. We're going Facebook Live next week. We're doing our first show on sales ethics, which is currently pretty much in the gutter based on one of the banks in Charlotte that sort of stepped on their own underwear. I don't know how clean or dirty your show is, but let's just try to keep it at least PG. And I think that everyone has to take an introspective look at what are they doing and what are their practices. So our first show is going to launch with, what would your mother say about your sales practices? Because if you can't call your mom and say, hey, mom, listen to what I've just done. You know, I mean, can you imagine the woman who was in charge of Wells Fargo saying, hey, mom, guess what I just did? I fraudulently opened up 1 million accounts and I'm shooting for 2 million. Like, seriously? Is that what you're going to tell your ma? No. So she had to know that she was down the wrong path. And her punishment didn't quite fit the crime. I think she left with 100 million. But, you know, I mean, that's how corporate America works. They do pretty much whatever they want to do until they get caught.
You know, I love your take on that, you know, sales ethics and, you know, would you tell your mother what you're doing? And I think it's so, you know, we talked a little bit offline, you know, creating simple processes that lead to so much more complexity in your life, whether it's more income or greater opportunities. And so for those of you that are right now with us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and Periscope, for those of you that are going to see this across 6 different continents on our YouTube channel, Jeffrey Gitomer, behind him has a poster, a picture, the little engine that could. And, you know, Jeffrey, kind of walk us through that moment where you were the little engine that could before you hit this level of superstardom and why you really believe in so much simplicity.
Before you can, I listened to Earl Nightingale's Strangest Secret in 1972, where he said, we become what we think about. I have challenged the audiences that you become what you think about. but Earl was all inclusive. If you think everything's great, it's great. If you think everything's crappy, it's crappy. So I try to be as simple as I possibly can, but I grew up selling in New York City, where up yours is a greeting. And in order to be able to sell here, you have to have ethical values, and you have to have a set of standards. You have to have a quality product, and you have to be quick, because you've got about a New York minute, and which lasts about 38 seconds. And if you can't prove yourself in that space of time, you're going to lose. And you're going to lose big time to a competitor who may not be as good, but who got there before you did, had a better spiel than you had, and convinced the buyer to pull the trigger. Should I wave? Would that be a better deal? Okay, cool. Looks like it's facing someplace else. I don't see me in the thing. Should I see me? Oh, I see you're doing the screen. I got you. Okay, cool. I got you. So I think it's important for everybody to understand that no matter where you are in the world, you have an easier time selling than you do in New York City. And that makes me alert. And I write about the things in a simplistic form, but complex enough to be sold in New York City. And that's why people get it and they like it. And the Sales Bible, which is now 22 years old, is still going to sell 100,000 copies this year. And I mean, I just sold 500 copies myself on a call this morning. I can't mention the name of the company, but the guy called me up and he wants 500. And that's the business of longevity. How many guys can be as longevity? What's the secret of longevity? And the answer is just do the right thing. You know, call your mom. No sound. No sound. You have no sound.
I think that brings up a great point, Jeffrey, is that, you know, you've sold a lot of books. You've written a lot of curriculums and done a lot of material, but yet it's the 22-year-old book, the Sales Bible, that's still breaking records and still selling multiple thousands of copies. And you talked about longevity. Did you have that in mind when you wrote that book? And did you really think that it would be such a juggernaut that it is?
Well, I wrote the Sales Bible because I felt that if it was a great book, it would have longevity based on its name. But when 94, about 12 years later, when the Little Red Book of Selling arrived from China, actually 10 years later, I realized that I had a brand. And the Little Red Book of Selling has gone on to become the best-selling sales book of all time, all over the world. And there's a reason for that, and the reason is that it's very simple to understand, it's very implementable, and I've cut out one thing in that book that every other book contains. I've cut out all the bullshit. And anybody can read that book page at a time, get something out of it, and go to work and make some money. I try to give information that people can take out into the street and turn into money 1 minute after they read it. That's a hallmark, that's a signature philosophy of mine that I put into everything that I do. But I also want to make it fun. A lot of sales guys, they got to make 100 cold calls in the morning. They hate that. I mean, they don't want to pick up the phone and dial. Well, I've made those calls, and if you look at it, if your boss is oppressive and he says you have to make 100 phone calls, then look at it as a lesson. An algebra lesson or a history lesson or something. You got to do it to get great. Chop wood, carry water. Chop wood, carry water.
So, you know, everybody has that moment where they started to come into who they were, you know, and really start embarking on that journey. And some people start early, some people start late. For you, Jeffrey, when did you know that selling and this path was for you and that you were going to be really great at it?
Well, I sold in the 70s in New York City, and I sold millions of dollars worth of the products that I was representing. I manufactured them myself, so I manufactured leisure sportswear. I manufactured leisure furniture. So I had a good feel for what I was able to do in Manhattan. But when I started to write about it, it became evident that I was able to transfer my message. And transferring a message, the audience says, or the reader says, I get it, I agree with it. I think I can do it. I'm willing to try it. That makes the message transferable. And I started to get tons of response from people, emails and faxes. And I said, this is my calling. If I keep writing, instead of affecting one or two people, I can affect millions of people. So I've been doing that since 1992. I still write every day, but I'm social. I have 110,000 Twitter followers and 27,000 LinkedIn connections. I'm out in the world to be able to make an impact, and I have a responsibility for it every day. I tweeted yesterday that just because a guy says he's not interested doesn't mean that you have to take no and walk out the door. What he means is you're not interesting. So if you got a little more interesting, maybe the guy would sit down and talk to you.
I love that.
Is he going to?
I love that. It's not that you're not interested. It's the fact that you're just not interesting enough.
Right. Now, you're an Alabama guy. If Lou Saban walked in your door to sell you something, would you say, sorry, Lou, not interested? No, you'd be asking him everything. Tell me about how you grew up. Tell me about everything. Tell me about the next play we're going to have in the great. Again, are we going to beat Auburn? Those are the things that you really want to know from somebody because you're engaged with him or her. Yeah. And you want to know more.
I'm going to ask him if I get in the game.
Exactly. Exactly. But look at it from the perspective of the salesperson has to love what they do. They have to believe in their product and their company, and they have to believe in themselves. If you don't have that, you're out. They also have to believe that they can differentiate themselves from their competition. And they have to believe that the customer is better off having purchased from them. And they have to believe it in their heart, not in their head. Head is attached to price. Heart is attached to wallet. Jerk on the heartstring, wallet comes popping right out of that back pocket. If you have kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
What's their closing ratio?
110%. I tell people all the time that having children taught me how to become a better salesperson. Because when I tell them give me 5 minutes, at the 4-minute and 59-second mark, they're coming right back with and it's no changing. It's the same thing as before. So, you brought up a great point that I want to expand upon with our audience because you're seeing so many salespeople, so many sales gurus, experts popping up everywhere. And you said, you got to love what you do. You got to love what you sell. At what point should a salesperson that can't physically say, I love what I'm selling, at what point should they pull the cord and get out?
Well, it's a very fine line there because you may have a family to support. You may have other bills that you got to pay, that kind of thing. But I recommend to every salesperson, become the number one salesperson in your company, then quit. And that way, the boss is not going to throw you under the bus for what you did or didn't do. He just lost his best guy. Why'd he quit? I don't know. He was my best guy. That's all they can say. So if you're thinking about leaving because you're disgruntled or unhappy, then go bust your balls, be the best sales guy, and then go take another job. First of all, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to get another job if you're the number one sales guy in your company. As opposed to if you walk into an interview and you're all pissed off at the guy and you say to them, well, my last boss didn't understand me and he made me do all this work. And like, dude, I don't even want to talk to you. But if you're the number one guy and you're leaving because you believe you want something you can believe in, I'll invite you to my home. So it's a matter of understanding what drives success. And most salespeople are not willing to do the hard work that it takes to make sales easy. They drink beer at night or they watch something stupid on television and they wonder why they're late for work or they don't quite have the same moxie or the same closing capability as the guy who's the best in the company.
I love that. Most salespeople aren't willing to do the hard work to make sales easy. I think that speaks volumes. So You brought up something else that I really want to make sure our audience doesn't miss, and I'm not rehashing it here, but I definitely want to bring it back up, is that you knew that you could transfer your skills to a product, to the written word, to the book. But, hey, there's another layer of Jeffrey Gitomer. I mean, you're a Hall of Fame speaker, man. And, so kind of talk to us about, was that another transferable moment, or was that just part of the maturation process?
When I started to sell, I realized that I loved it, and I made a goal to be the best. When I started to write, I realized that I loved it, and I made a goal to be the best. When I started to speak, I realized that I loved it, and I made a goal to be the best. But writing is actually the key. I started to write in 1992. Every penny that I've earned since 1992, March the 23rd, 1992, I can trace back to something that I wrote. Anybody who hires me to give a speech hires me because of my book, or they hire me because of something that they read, or maybe they hired me because they heard me speak someplace else before, but all of that is based on my writing. So I'm looking at this from the perspective of, I have a responsibility to my audience to give information that works today, information that works right now. And that information is my challenge to myself, to wake up every morning and write. And I challenge anybody who's listening, if you really want to be successful, wake up in the morning and instead of watching something stupid on television, write something. Tweet something, post something, have a blog about something, write a script so you can video it. Do something that makes your words impact the person who's reading or listening.
How do you stay, how do you stay so motivated, especially with all the different books that you write? Where does that inspiration and motivation come from?
4 daughters and 4 granddaughters. If that ain't inspiration, I don't know what is. But I have I'm very lucky. I have a great relationship with my partner right now. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and I know I shouldn't, but I do. And I wake up every day and I have a fountain of youth, right in my place. I love to travel. I love to talk. And as long as I love what I do, that is going to come through to everybody. Anybody who sees me talk is going to say, man, that guy loves what he does. And it shows. So I keep my own personal enthusiasm. I keep my own personal desire to get to the next level in everything that I do. And that becomes transferable to the audience. They see it and they want to feel that energy too. They want to have that love for what they do. That's the fun part. It's important for people to see that they can, hearing it is one thing, but seeing the enthusiasm is a whole nother. Now, later on this afternoon, I'll be in Manhattan. And it's the best place on the planet, other than Paris. Paris is the best place on the planet. American, they speak English. And a lot of people go, what do you go to France for? People in France don't like Americans. That's not true. People in France don't like anybody. We just happen to be part of the deal. But it's got culture, it's got fashion, it's got food, it's got architecture, it's got history, it's got ambiance. I mean, it's the place to go. New York City, second place to go.
Jeffrey, you talked about earlier too as well. You said most salespeople aren't willing to do the hard work to make sales easy. What was the hardest moment you can recall during your illustrious career where it was kind of that, do I want to even keep doing this, and kind of walk us through how you pushed through that moment?
I've never had a moment where I questioned my going forward. From the very beginning, I've been on a mission. And I think that the person who questions their situation, it's time to go. If you're questioning what you're doing, if you're saying, why the hell am I doing this? You got to go do something else. What you're doing is you're fighting with yourself against what you really love to do. So I love to do what I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. I love getting on the plane. I love getting off the plane at a new place. I love walking out in front of an audience that I've never talked to before and talk for 3 hours about sales or leadership or attitude or networking or, whatever it is that they want, or social selling. I have fun doing what I do, and I do it every day. And the day I stop having fun, I'll give you a call and say over. But until then, I'm gonna go until I can't go anymore.
Well, and so the millennial movement, there's all these predictions. Millennials obviously were the largest, generation of people in the history because the baby boomers that were the largest gave birth to us. And so many people are trying to connect with millennials and are engaging them. And how do you find yourself engaging with this millennial market and this younger generation? And what would you suggest to others that are trying to do the same?
Be real. Millennials can smell bullshit all the way down the road. They don't want to hear somebody who is self-aggrandizing. They want to hear somebody who's real and can give them facts that they can potentially go out and turn into money. That's what they're looking for more than anything. And I'm going to show you something. I did a talk about a month ago to 750 millennials. That a lot? 750 millennials. Most people can't do 1 minute worth of talk to millennials, let alone 750. Okay, and here, is this it? Crap. Must not be it yet. But 750 millennials is a lot of kids to give a talk to. And here is their response.
That's awesome.
Right. So now I'm 70. Don't give me bullshit about, millennials don't listen to a certain type of people, or they don't listen to people that give them a bunch of crap. They don't understand. These guys would rather text and talk. These guys would rather stay at home and work than go into work. So I'm going to try to respect what they want more than anything and talk to them about what they could do to get better. And if they want to do it, that's a choice. And if they don't want to do it, that's a choice.
Well, and I think for you to not only do a talk for 750 millennials and they all gave you a standing ovation, to be able to hold their attention that long is impressive.
Yeah,
Number two,
an hour and a half and a standing ovation.
So my second point to that would be, and something I would love to know is that as the audience changes, whether it's boomers or whether it's millennials or whether it's Gen Z or whatever the case may be, do you change the way that you present your message, or is it just you just stay consistent?
I am on topic, so every talk I give is customized. I'm funny as hell. If you're not funny, you die. I don't tell people how great I am. I tell people how great they are, and automatically they think I'm pretty cool about it. So I don't talk about what I've done in New York City. I talk about what they need to do tomorrow morning when they wake up. And they'll come to grips with themselves. And they get the fact that, they're whoever the audience is, whether it's a bunch of old guys or a bunch of, middle men and women on a sales team that are selling smartphones, or they're a bunch of young kids that are going after their first deal. I have to talk to them about them. And I have to give them ideas that they don't have right now. And I have to be funny. And I have to connect with them intellectually and personally. So I've learned how to do that over the last 20 years, and I have a good time at it. I walk the audience. I don't stand on a stage. And I make sure that they get the fact that I'm with them all the way and that I want them to succeed and go out and have a great time. And I challenge them that if they're not having any fun with it, quit. Because life's too short to have that bullshit. But one of the connection pieces with millennials is technology. And the reason that older people can't connect with the millennial is because the millennial thinks they're technologically behind them. And, they don't want a guy that doesn't tweet. They don't want a guy that doesn't Periscope. They don't want a guy that doesn't Snapchat or now even Instagram, which will ultimately replace Snapchat. We all know it. They all know it, but no one will admit it. And, it's a matter of how they handle their social lives and their social technology to be able to make something happen in favor of their customer. Not just in favor of them, but in favor of their customer. And all salespeople have to realize that it's all about how you favor the customer or you die.
Well, and we've got folks that are checking in on Facebook Live as we speak. I know so many people are getting all these great nuggets on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio. Want to also give a big shout out to the team at Rush Impact Media, my man Jeremy Warner and the team out there doing an amazing job to help power up the power of great. And I really appreciate them as well. So, you talk about how well, before we even go there, hang on a second. You don't promote yourself, but hey, one thing you do love is you love New York, my man. We were talking offline, and you've mentioned it several times. So what is it about New York that you just fell in love with and you knew if you can sell in New York, you can sell anywhere?
New York is the epicenter of our culture. They have, the fashion's off the chart, the food is off the chart, but so are the museums. So I've maintained my membership. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina predominantly, but I'm in New York. I have an apartment here and an office here. And I'm in New York maybe 3 or 4 times a month. But I go to the show. I go to the museum. I'm a member of 3 museums here. I go see a Broadway show. I eat at restaurants that are fun to eat at, either on the street or sitting down. And my office is right near the Charging Bull in the financial district of New York City. It's right by Wall Street. It's been completely redone since 9/11. It's almost gentrified. So you can see the evolution of the city. And it's just a fun place to go. I take the subway for $2 and, you learn your way around. And I talk to people. In New York City, people don't talk, but I love to talk to people. So I'll talk to them in Starbucks. I'll talk to them in an elevator. They're like shocked as hell that somebody would actually say hi to them or something like that. It's kind of fun. You never know who you're going to run into. But I think most important is I'm comfortable here. I'm not afraid to be here. Living in Jersey City, it's literally, you can see the Empire State Building out of one of the windows of my apartment, and you can see the Statue of Liberty out of the other. So I have a view that's, it's so inspirational. And I just take the boat into the city. There's a ferry that runs every 5 minutes, and it costs it for senior citizens only $5. So I'm in the city straight away. I live here with my girlfriend. We have a great relationship. We have a great time. She's a speaker. She's an author. You can look her up, Sales in a New York Minute and .com. And we're in the city. I know where the best Chinese restaurant is. I know where the best salad is. And friends come here, and I take them on my tour. I got a tour of Manhattan that I want to go on with people. People don't know what the High Line is. People have never been to the Whitney Museum. It's a fun place to be. And it's a challenge culturally, the same way Paris is a challenge culturally. You have to involve yourself literally in the city. You immerse yourself in the city. And having been selling here since the 70s, I get it. You're not going to New York me. You know what I mean?
Well, I also respect that you gave your girl a nice little plug, my man. I love that. Sales in a NewYorkMinute.com. It was subtle, but you got it in there. Would you say also, Jeffrey, that New York also keeps you grounded in a sense and kind of helps you stay in retrospect to what that bigger purpose is always about?
Well, let me share this with you. I get off the ferry in the morning and I walk. I'm a Fitbit guy. So it's about 2,500 steps to my office. I walk by the 9/11 memorial every morning that I'm in New York City. I stand in front of that memorial until I get choked up and pissed off and really charged with energy, and then I go to work. you can't forget what's happened in this country and just think that everything's going to be fine. Somebody's out there to get our ass, and I want to get their ass before they get my ass. And it's no different in sales. The competition's out there to get my ass, and I'm going to get their ass before they get mine. But I have the inspiration that New York City provides. It is a hotbed of inspiration, whether it's from 9/11 or from the meal that you just ate, or the fashion that you just saw, or the museum that you just went to, where you saw art that you've never seen before. Pretty cool.
Well, and something over your illustrious career, what would you say has been things that you've seen change in the industry over 30 years? And what are some things that you've seen that have stayed the exact same?
Well, the internet obviously has changed everything in sales. Some jobs have been completely eliminated, and some jobs are being fought for, like insurance sales or stocks and bonds, or even automobiles now are being, the leads are coming in from the internet. You buy a car, you do internet research. Well, you're about to see a revolution when Tesla becomes the norm. The internal combustion engine is going to go away. It's 100 years old, and the only reason it's there still is because they haven't perfected the battery enough for the big gas companies to get scared. Well, I think they're scared now. And you're going to see more and more battery cars. And then General Motors is going to put the buy now button on their website. And when they put the buy now button on their website, everyone will lose their job in sales in about 2 seconds. Just about 2 seconds, maybe a little bit less than 2 seconds, however long it's going to take them to clean their desk out. So that's going to happen. The lower level sales jobs will go away. The clerks will still be in the stores, although internet shopping has probably taken away half of it. But the more sophisticated sales jobs, if you're selling computer software, if you're selling any kind of technology, artificial intelligence, if you're selling real estate, renting big buildings or doing construction work, those jobs are going to stay. But a lot of sales jobs are going to go away over the next 10 years, a lot of them. And the salesperson has to look at their job and go, can I be replaced by something that's automated? And the car sales guy's the next guy. What do you think? I mean, have you ever been pissed off at a car dealership?
Well, I think it speaks volumes to what you're saying, is that now we've got social media managers and we've got internet marketing managers. And it was, and I agree with you 100%. I think it was the automobile industry that saw that coming, and they started to hire people that legitimately answer internet leads and create phone calls from it. And I agree with you 100%.
So there's going to be a lot more inside selling going on. There's going to be a lot more online buying going on. Sales will still be made. They'll just be made a different way. The consumerism in America, the gross national product will continue to go up. The question is, how will that sale be made and delivered? So if you look at your UPS guy right now, half the boxes he delivers to you are from Amazon. Half. And I don't have to do shit. I go online and I click, I buy, and 2 days later it shows up. So I'm looking at it from the perspective of, we're in the middle of this massive change, and not everybody sees that it's happening, or people don't believe that it's happening.
So for current salespeople,
yeah,
how do they get in front of this? I mean, how do they become someone that's indispensable, or maybe how do they change or recalibrate to kind of get in front of this change that's coming?
I'm doing a webinar on Friday. Go to Jeffrey Gitomer /gold, jeffreygitomer.com/gold. And I'm doing a seminar on your social platform, your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your YouTube, your blog, your personal website, your social presence, so that when somebody goes online and they Google you, something actually pops up. That's where every person has to be in order to be found, in order to be deemed as credible, no matter what they're going to do. Resumes are over. So if their job is faltering, no matter what the job is, whether they used to be a bank executive and that job's going away and they want to be a real estate executive, whoever's going to hire them is going to go on Google and put their name in. And if they're not socially present, I'm going to think of them as somebody that just has never kept up with the times. So you have to be on time right now. And literally, I interrupted the preparation for my webinar for your call. But I'm looking at this from the perspective of this is the resume of the future. I don't need a piece of paper that tells me that my high school gym teacher really liked me, or that I had a 93% increase in sales. That's bullshit. I want something that relevance that says my customers say this guy's the greatest guy on the planet on a video. That I've got 7,800 Twitter followers that retweet me.
Boom.
Where's my platform? So the social platform is going to play a major role in every salesperson's future. And if they don't get that, then the best thing they can do is apply to be like dog catcher or something like that, because it's the only job that they're going to be able to get. It's not going to be a sales job.
Well, and you also bring up another great point that most people probably overlook, because the internet, social media is a commonality now. But every time that you go and you try to apply for something or you try to sign up for something, people want to know what your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your Facebook handles, all those things. And I think you're exactly right. But so, as we begin to wrap up the show, Jeffrey, I tell you, there's just so many great things that so many people are going to extract from this. But for you're not a guy that cares so much internally on what people are saying. You're really more concerned about the external impact you're creating for other people. So how does a guy like you handle all the praise and all the accolades that comes with what you do, stay grounded and stay committed to what you're trying to accomplish?
By simply saying thank you. If you maintain humility and you maintain a sense of balance in your life, other people will get that you're a genuine guy and an approachable guy. And even though I know I have a modicum of fame, or I know that I have a modicum of fans of people that literally they read me every day, or they do something that I tell them to do every day. So if I meet them in person, which I do literally, I was flying back from Paris last week, and the guy behind me goes, "You're Jeffrey Gitomer, aren't you?" I go, "Yeah." And that creates a dialogue. Well, this guy works for a major uniform. I literally got a sales lead standing online because I'm hopeful to do their next seminar. So I look at it as every time somebody recognizes me, it's an opportunity. And they're judging me as to what kind of character I am, and then they're going to tell somebody else. So I want to be approachable. I want to be fun. I want to be humble. I want to be funny. I want to be real, and luckily I don't have to fake that. That's who I am. And, I'm a dad, I'm a granddad, but I'm a friend, but I'm a funny guy. And I try my best to do it in a way that pleases the other person when they encounter me.
Wouldn't you also say that with humility and being humble, you also need to be humble and face humility with your faults as well to really be able to show that genuineness also?
I'll tell you, if I had any, I would face them. Everybody has their faults. Come on. Everybody, I have a lot of weaknesses, and I deal with my weaknesses just like everybody else should. I know what they are. I identify them. I work on them. I got 15 more pounds on me than I would like to have.
Me too.
I think that there are elements of my follow through or my follow up that I could be better at. I think I could be a more dedicated worker or writer, but those are things that I call myself out on in my bathroom mirror in the morning, because nobody else is going to stand behind me and going, "Did you do this today? Did you eat right today? Did you, are you still getting fat?" I don't want to hear that. So I'll do it myself. And luckily I have the discipline to do it. if you write every week for 25 years, you got some discipline in you. And that's where I'm at right now. And if you have kids to support, it's even more discipline.
So the webinar that's this Friday, it's jeffreygitomer.com/gold. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just go to it. But you can just email me, jeffrey@gitomer.com, and I'll get you all the info.
Jeffrey@Gitomer.com for all of you that are listening right now. For those of you on Facebook Live as well, you don't want to miss this webinar. I do a lot of Jeffrey's webinars. They're pure gold. This one just happens to be /gold. But Jeffrey@Gitomer.com?
For the webinar, it's jeffreygitomer.com/gold, and that'll take you to the landing page.
Perfect. Well, what's next for you, Jeffrey? What do you, other than the webinar, and what's some next big moves we can expect for you?
I'm writing books with Napoleon Hill, with the Napoleon Hill Institute. I'm writing a couple of books on sales. I'm writing a book on. I'm trying to go more into life now that I've hit 70. So I'll be doing a couple of social books and a couple of life books. But my goal is 10 books in the next 10 years.
Man.
I know.
So you're writing books with the Napoleon Hill Foundation.
Yeah, I've been given the privilege to take some of his material and try to modernize it a little bit. So I'm going to be doing that. And I'm writing a book called The New Sale. And that hopefully will come out probably the first of next year.
Love that. So other than Gitomer.com, which is your website, what are your social media handles so all these crazy people that want to get in front of Jeffrey Gitomer can follow you?
If you go to Gitomer.com, we're launching a new website in another 60 days, but all the links will be there to connect with me socially. The best thing somebody can do is go to the GitomerLearningAcademy.com, and they can see how they can get 10 or 15 minutes a day information of mine. It's all video. Every book's on video. I've got 52 power lessons, 25 webinars, and it's cheap. It's under $100 a month. So they can get all the sales information they need. We have thousands of people that are taking my training online and loving it. I mean, literally loving it. So I'll get you a preview. You can see if I'm full of shit or not.
Oh, I have no doubt. As a New Yorker, there is not any full of shitness that's going to come out of you. I can assure you of that. And at age 70, for you to have a goal to write 10 books in 10 years, I tell you, that's something that most people would have already called it in.
At 70, they're thinking about where they're going to go to Florida.
That's right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Jeffrey Gitomer on the power of great. You want to get over to the GitomerLearningAcademy.com right now. GitomerLearningAcademy.com right now. And you want to get locked in to one of the best sales professionals, speaker, Hall of Famer, author, and one hell of a guy. And let me go ahead and expand on this. The flagship microphone hype man for New York that I've met in such a long time. And you definitely want to hang out with this gentleman because he's absolutely amazing. But I'll leave you with this every week.
Hey, whoever you are, I'll coffee you if you want. Just, make sure you track my ass down. I'll try to find you and have a little cup of coffee, or maybe we'll go to a Knicks game or something, or go to a Charlotte Hornets game.
I love it. I'm going to hold you to that. Okay. But right here on The Power of Great, I'll leave you with this every single week. Success is never measured by what you step out of, rather by what you're truly committed to step into. And I thank you each and every week for allowing me to be your host right here on the Power of Great podcast.